I've received a couple of emails from new recruits in Templemore, and you stressed there about their, I suppose, their delight, and we're all delighted to see them, myself and my party also, with their eagerness to get going in the job. But they are somewhat concerned about the salary that they're being paid, and has been flagged to me by a couple of emails from new recruits that their salary upon leaving Templemore will be 23,171 gross. And they point out that the last time recruits left Templemore was in 2009. The salary was 27,000 plus 4,000 euros rent allowance. Now, accepted there was pay cuts for everybody across the public service in between 2009 and the present date, but I think the point that they're making is that they're out of pocket this 4,000 euro rent allowance, and that it's a significant amount of money. And they point out to me in the emails that the slogan of Garda Síochána is a fair day's pay for a fair day's work. And the point that they're making is that when they enter out to work for Garda Síochána into the community, that they won't be on the same rate of pay as other recruits heretofore. So maybe if I could just get a comment from you in relation to that, by way of an explanation for the difference in the variance.
Sure, yes. Well, Gardaí are paid a number of allowances on top of their basic salary, as you know. The allowances amount to between 25 and 33% of gross pay for Gardaí, and for the most part have been in existence for a number of years. In September 2012, the background to this issue you raised, following the review of public service allowances and premium payments, the government decided to abolish certain allowances, including the rent allowances for all new beneficiaries in the public service. That included the fire service, the prison service, and on Garda Síochána. Obviously, the aim of the review was to contain or reduce pay-related costs in the delivery of services, and the saving to the Exchequer at that point was 475 million per annum. Obviously, a business case was presented by Garda Síochána to the Minister for Public Expenditure and Reform for retention of the allowance under review, including the rent allowance. The rent allowance was first provided in 1926. The main reason for the provision of the allowance, as you would know, was obviously to support Gardaí who were moving in different around the country. The cost currently for those members who do get it is 50 million per annum, and it's worth over 4,017 per member. As I said, this was really one of the actions that was taken to deal with the economic situation at the time. I appreciate the points you make, Deputy Collins. There aren't any plans to review it at present.
Well, actually, that was my follow-up question. You have no plans to review it at present. Okay. Can I just ask you, and I mentioned this to you before, maybe on one occasion at least, and maybe if not two, just a situation in relation to Garda Reserves. We receive a lot of communication from Garda Reserves, and there's a growing frustration out there in the present body of Garda Reserves that they don't see it as they don't see enough career progression in terms of the recruitment campaign which happened. Now, I accept that the recruitment campaign has to be run on the on an open, competitive basis. But do you think, with the advent of the Independent Police Authority, that we should look at a situation that we have in other jurisdictions where you have your reserve force and your complement of people there, that can be used as an entry point into Garda Síochána? Have you given any thought in relation to that? That's the first point, just to ask you that again.
What's that now?
Well, I've just three related.
Okay.
That's the first point. The second point is just in relation, and again, a lot of them do a lot of hours. Some of them do small hours, but the vast majority of them do a lot of hours. And again, the annual stipend which is paid to them, could that be reviewed given the improving financial circumstances and the increased vote into Garda Síochána? And finally, again, I've had a number of communications from members of the public who have applied, because you can apply pretty much any time it's open to apply to become a member of the Garda Reserves, but they say to me that it's a very slow process. Is there any thinking within the Department of Justice, or indeed on Garda Síochána, to try and expedite that? Because there are a lot of people out there who are willing to give of their time, which is obviously very good in terms of what it'll do for civic society, and they want to get into the system a lot quicker.
Thank you. A couple of points in relation to that. There's currently 1,110 attested reserve Gardaí, with a further 46 at various stages of training. I take the point that you make, and I think it's a very interesting one in relation to, would it be possible to develop, if you like, some sort of a stream almost in relation to people who are members of the Garda Reserve going into an Garda Síochána. Obviously, at the moment, they bring in their CV, you know, the experience, and it's considered, I'm sure, as part of the interview process. 40 members of the Garda Reserve have joined as full-time members of Garda Síochána, with a further 13 joining just on the on the 2nd of February. So you are seeing some progression, obviously, into the new recruits from those who've experience in the Garda Reserve. But I have had some discussions in relation to this, and I think it is an area that could be developed further, as you suggest. I'm not quite sure whether it would become, I think to anticipate that it would become a kind of a direct route in probably wouldn't be the first step, but I think we could begin some discussions about a more, maybe, about how the idea that you put forward, how that could be developed further. So I think certainly we're at that point, and I would hope to have some further discussions with the Garda Commissioner in relation to it. One point I would make about the reserve, which I think is important given the kind of country we are now and the multicultural and the diversity that we have, that the reserve has been notably successful in attracting non-Irish nationals to its ranks. 67 of the reserve members or trainees are non-Irish nationals, originally from, you know, a very wide range of countries, and I think that brings a, you know, a richness to the force that is welcome in terms of community policing and dealing and working with minority groups in the country. You have made the point in relation to pay before. And at present, I don't have any plans in relation to increasing it, but I'll keep it under review.
Okay. Just a comment or an observation in relation to that. The present complement of Garda Reserves have no representative spokespeople, and I think that's something that we need to give consideration to, because, you know, there's a significant number of them out there. You know, I know that somebody senior in Phoenix Park, I think, is their, you know, liaison contact person who goes around and meets them in either individually or in groups. But certainly, if you're thinking along the lines that you've just stated there, some kind of a mechanism or a vehicle will have to be worked out where they will be afforded representation in some kind of a structured format. So that's that. Just two brief final questions. Chairman. Minister, you said in your opening statement, you highlighted in your opening statement that a number of courthouses are progressing, Letterkenny, Drogheda, Mullingar, Limerick City, Wexford Town, through the PPP arrangement. Have they travelled the journey through the National Development Finance Agency in terms of, is the finance, has the PPP partners, are they signed up, are they at a ready to go stage? In terms of finance, is it ready to apply to them? Is the finance available once the tender process has been complete? And my last question is, can you just outline to us, Minister, the process that you're going to follow to headhunt the vacancy in GSOC at Commissioner level?
Okay,
Minister.
First point I want to make is that you also asked about the delays in relation to the reserve. Could I make the point that reserves go through the public appointment system process, and obviously the Public Appointment Service are being asked to do an awful lot of things recently, and the delay is because of the volume of work that's there. And obviously we've had quite a number of vacancies being advertised. We've had the promotions being dealt with, and well, that wasn't passed, that's a different system, but there's quite a number of appointments that are now going through PASS, so it is really just a question of the capacity of PASS to respond to put on competitions. So that's the explanation there. In relation to the public-private partnership, I'll take you through the way that it's being done at present. The Part 9 planning process has been completed for all 7 locations. The procurement process has been commenced following on from approval by the Department of Justice and Equality. That was commenced by the NDFA. The pre-qualification...
Sorry to cut. Is that the procurement of a PPP partner?
Yes.
Funding partner,
Yes.
yeah, okay.
Yes, consortium probably, yes. Yeah, and that was for all the projects. The pre-qualification process for potential tenders was completed over the summer. 4 consortia have been pre-qualified to tender for the bundle of projects, so it's at that point. An invitation to tender was issued to these consortia in October 14, and a series of consultation meetings on technical, legal, commercial and insurance issues is currently underway. Tenders will be submitted in March 2015, after which a preferred bidder will be selected. Following a period of negotiation, it is expected that a contract could be concluded in October 2015, with instructions shortly after that, as I said. So the contract could be completed, hopefully will be completed in October. The 7 PPP projects are being planned as a single bundle. All sites will be working at the same time, with a period of up to 24 months for completion, and the time required obviously will vary by site. So it's very positive, I think, that we will have these new modern courthouses in the 7 locations that I have told to the committee about. In relation to GSOC, the government haven't made a final decision. I would say that the post of chair, the person who is appointed, what will happen is they will be completing the term that's left, as opposed to a new appointment for a period of 5 years. So it'll be an appointment for the time that's left to the current commission, which I think is approximately a year and a half.
Is it being advertised?
The government haven't decided yet on the approach in relation to the nomination of the chair of GSOC.